set for an Asian delicacy when Pakistan and Sri Lanka are supposed to take off in just over half an hour from now in Bristol for their respective league stage game of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2019. An all-Asian contest, both teams buoyed by their resurgence after wins against England and Afghanistan respectively. Unfortunately, the news from Bristol isn't great. We'll come to that in just a bit. Before that, I welcome Ajit Agarkar and Daren Ganga, who are here. They look fine in the comforts of our studio. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to have an on-time start because if you're just catching up, if you've not followed social media, then you know that it's pouring down in Bristol, which doesn't make for good reading on this game. It's also not a good forecast for Bristol today, and latest pictures that are coming in from the county ground in Bristol that already saw one game this World Cup between Australia and Afghanistan is now witnessing a serious downpour. We definitely have a delayed toss. We do not have a great forecast, and therefore we're not quite sure how much cricket we're going to get. But we will still have a conversation around this game in the hope that the weather clears and stays better. And I think that's what both teams would want, Daren, given the resurgence of sorts after disappointing first games, both teams bouncing back in their second.
Indeed, both teams will want to play cricket because there will be points on offer if they can play and secure themselves a win. Pakistan will feel more confident in this contest, you will think, because of that win against England, who are tagged as favourites for this World Cup, and they played a good game all around. Their batting, their bowling, their out cricket, everything clicked, and you saw that sort of body language that you expected from a Pakistan team when they're on song. Sri Lanka, on the other hand, just scraped home against Afghanistan. Their record against Pakistan, not great at all. Right now in ODI cricket, Pakistan, they've chalked up 90 wins against Sri Lanka. One more win will break the world record for the most number of wins by a team against another in ODI cricket. So a lot to play for. Whether or not we get cricket, only time will tell.
There's our daily Daren
Ganga
well done,
nugget.
Daren. it's our daily Daren Ganga nugget. It's brilliant. Keep it coming, Daren. He makes a good point. It's not only in all ODI cricket, in particular in the World Cup, while Pakistan don't enjoy a great record against one of their Asian rivals in India, they have a phenomenal record against Sri Lanka. They've won 7 out of 7 times in World Cup cricket. Sri Lanka have never had the better of Pakistan, and we're hoping that we do get some cricket today to make sure that encounter does happen, especially after the way both teams turned their last respective games around. What you want is to continue. You want to get onto the ground for your next game quickly. This just would, I guess, just
because
annoy
both
the players.
teams would be looking at it as, you know, one of those teams that you can beat. I think Pakistan more. I don't want to say that Sri Lanka can't beat Pakistan. Okay, their numbers don't make good reading against Pakistan in this competition, but Pakistan in particular, after that big win against England, after a poor loss against West Indies, I think if there's no game today and they have to share points, I think they'll be a little bit more disappointed than Sri Lanka after the performance that they've had in the previous game.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a fixture that the World Cup has been starved of. There's just been one Pakistan-Sri Lanka fixture in the last 6 World Cups. And in that fixture in 2011 in Colombo, Misbah top scored with an unbeaten 83 that saw Pakistan get home by 11 runs. Dilshan played for Sri Lanka and opened the batting on that day. It was a successful campaign for both teams, making it to the semi-final and final respectively. I warmly welcome both Misbah and Dilshan at this point. Let me go to Misbah first, who's back in the comforts of his home. And as the world celebrates Eid al-Fitr, my best wishes to you, Misbah, and to all our viewers, Eid Mubarak. But it's not a happy story in Bristol, as the teams will have to wait that much longer. I'm sure Pakistan would be eager to get onto the field.
Thank you. Thank you for the Eid wishes and Eid Mubarak to everyone all over the world. Yeah, of course, the story of the weather is not good for Pakistan. I think after the win against England, Pakistan will be very confident in the next game, and they want to play this game because I think they'll fancy their chances against Sri Lanka, and you need to win more games just when it goes a bit tighter at the end, because you have to play India, you have to play South Africa, you have to play Australia, and New Zealand. So you want to just register more wins before going into those pressure games. And I think after the win against England, Pakistan wants to play this match badly. I mean, obviously, Sri Lanka is the kind of team, the way they performed in South Africa, they can come strong and they can surprise you. But I think Pakistan will definitely looking to play this game and register another win.
Yes, they'll be eager, they're upset. The hosts and tournament favourites in England, they got the adrenaline that's kicking in them right now, and they would have wanted this game against Sri Lanka, but we're hoping that the weather forecast improves. The other side, even Sri Lanka, Dilshan, after getting that first win, those vital first 2 points, it might erase the memory of the first game against New Zealand. What you want is to try and stitch a couple of wins together. It looks like Pakistan are the more solid team if you weigh both teams down. But Sri Lanka would have wanted this opportunity too. You never know what you get with Pakistan, and this was another good game in Bristol where they would have fancied their chances.
I think it's as our Sri Lankan team should try to play every single game. Thing is that this is another opportunity to continue this tournament. It's one of the another opportunity go and play in the middle, and they are try to come their form. I think we have to pass. What happened is past now. Is we have to forget about what happened. Now we have to play every single game. Try to at least batting units should try to come their form. I think every match should play. I think Sri Lankan team also might be looking for play this game and put another 2 points to their points table. I think definitely both teams important game. This is I think both teams want to play today and go forward to this tournament.
Yeah, it's a huge game for both teams. They won these points. Misbah nicely puts out that there is perhaps stronger opposition to come, and therefore these are points that are up for grabs. So let's hope there is a contest of some sort, as the weather in Bristol at the moment doesn't allow for the toss to happen on time. In the meantime, let's figure what's happening in the world of social media. Angie, there is plenty happening in the world of social media, especially given the reasonable outpour after what happened in the West Indies-Australia game last evening. So let's go to Anubhav, who's waiting patiently and I'm sure has plenty in the social corner. Let's hit it off, Anubhav. What you got for us?
Thank you so much, Ronak. As the World Cup's advancing gears, so is the chatter on social media. So without further ado, let's get into the meat of it. Up first, we've got Sheldon Cottrell, who's gained a fair bit of popularity in the recent past with his salute celebration. But what's the backstory behind it? So here's a fun fact for you. Sheldon is a member of the Jamaican Defence Force, and so every time he does the celebration, it's a tribute that he's paying to his colleagues back in Kingston, Jamaica. Moving from one West Indian to another, here's Kieron Pollard, who's a man who doesn't mince his words. Kieron here seems visibly upset about some of the umpiring decisions in yesterday's match that he feels cost the West Indies the game against Australia. Echoing Kieron's sentiments was Michael Holding, who too felt that the umpiring yesterday was absolutely atrocious. And Michael says that if the umpires are too intimidated by excessive appealing, then they're way too weak. So both Michael Holding as well as Kieron Pollard clearly blowing off some steam. So I'm going to turn to my panel now. Daren, I'll put you on the spot. Were you as vociferous in your criticism about the umpiring as the two of them were?
I was. I made it a point to state that it was subpar umpiring, the standard umpiring, not sort of consistent with what you expect from a world event like this. And I mean, it's human nature at the end of the day as well. That's what I put it. It's not an easy role, like I said before, but it was just coincidental or ironic, you would say, that a lot of the decisions went against the West Indies in that encounter.
Anubhav, carry on. I'm going to have a longer chat about this in just a bit, where I know Ajit is keen to say a few things, but finish off. What else you got for us?
Brilliant. So moving from the vanquished to the victor, Australia, Akash Chopra here points out that in the history of the Cricket World Cup, there have only been 5 occasions when Australia has been 4 down for under 50 runs, but they've actually gone on to win the matches on all 5 occasions. So clearly exemplifying the never say die attitude that Aussie teams of the past were
We've
known for.
double-checked that, right? Akash has got that right, because I mean, Akash gets very little wrong, but I'm just making sure. Have you double-checked that?
I did double-check that.
Good. So Akash is still very much on, he's the insider that's getting most things
and I
right.
clearly do my homework as well. So clearly exemplifies the never say die attitude that we're seeing in this Aussie side as well. Now, one man who was responsible for flinging a fair bit of damage to the West Indies was Mitchell Starc, who's not only adept at shattering stumps, but also shattering records. Mitchell Starc yesterday, with his 5-wicket spell, became the fastest to 150 ODI wickets, breaking Saqlain Mushtaq's record, who took 78 matches to get to that feat. Ajit, I'm going to turn to you now. There was a lot of chatter surrounding Mitchell Starc before the World Cup. He hadn't had too many games under his belt. People said that he was too rusty, but that's quite the way to make a statement and to answer your critics, isn't it?
It doesn't look rusty to me. I think obviously hasn't had a lot of cricket. That's why people said maybe he'll take a bit of time, but they've had some games coming into this World Cup, some warm-up games, and even that first game against Afghanistan. You know, he looked like he had his rhythm. I think yesterday the change of lengths were really good. The pace is up there, and the record tells you the story. I think he's equal the great Wasim Akram on 5-wicket hauls in 77 games, and Wasim got it in 300 plus games, or 6 5-wicket hauls. Tells you the story. I mean, that sort of wicket-taking ability, I don't think you can have a substitute for that. Exceptional bowler.
Well said. And we're going to conclude proceedings with the statistic that the panel alluded to earlier on in the show. So Pakistan and Sri Lanka faced each other in World Cup history on 7 occasions, with Pakistan winning all 7 matches. So clearly a statistic that does not make for the happiest of reading if you're a Sri Lankan fan. And I'm pretty sure Sri Lanka is going to looking to become 8th time lucky in today's encounter.
Yep, thank you very much, Anubhav. So they do have the vote over them to Pakistan in World Cup cricket, and let's hope they get the opportunity to at least have another contest against Sri Lanka. It's time for a short break on ESPNcricinfo Matchday UK 2019. Views in the Caribbean, stay with us. We'll come back with the very latest from Bristol. Views on ESPNcricinfo, hang around too. A few things that we'd like to discuss in the aftermath of yesterday's game as well. All right, and viewers on ESPNcricinfo, if you're still with us, remember, it's not just this game that you're going to be watching. It's in this Cricket World Cup. Why just watch the match when you can play it too? Check out Hotstar Watch and Play. It's super cool innovation that lets you invite your friends, predict every ball, chat about the match, all in one place. And if winning the prediction isn't enough, you get to win amazing prizes too. So just get on to Hotstar Watch and Play right away. Right, this is where we leave our viewers on ESPNcricinfo. You will have ball-by-ball updates on the site that will continue to keep you updated with the very latest. Sharda Ugra is at Bristol and will continue to pose some updates, and we'll be back as soon as we hear about the toss from Bristol.